At the moment, Avatar The Last Airbender, the original series, is fully receiving the praise and attention it deserves. When talking about the series, many argue that across its 61 episode runtime, there is not a single bad episode. Well, I would disagree with that. What I do agree with is that there are certain episodes that tend to fly under the radar. Those episodes that might not be showered with praise like the all-time favorites, but quality-wise, deserve more appreciation from the fanbase. Here are the top 10 most underrated Avatar The Last Airbender episodes. In my opinion, of course. First, a little clarification on what I mean with underrated. I deem an episode underrated if the fanbase does not sufficiently acknowledge how good the episode is. Most of these episodes are not part of the best episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender, and some I think are. But I'm not going to put the Tales of Ba Sing Se, Zuko Alone or the Southern Raiders on this list, as many as do I deem those to be the best episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender. Before we start the countdown, please join our growing group of friends by subscribing and giving this video a like. It helps with the algorithm and greatly supports the channel. We are nearing 10,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me. Also, let me know in the comments what you think is the most underrated Avatar episode of all time. With that out of the way, let's start the countdown. Number 10. The Serpens Pass. In the Serpens Pass, the gang must travel through a treacherous pass to reach Ba Sing Se, the capital of the Earth Kingdom. Along the way, they meet a pregnant couple who are also trying to make their way through the pass. And I feel like this episode is underrated primarily because it is followed by The Drill, a very well-liked action-packed episode. The Serpens Pass, however, chooses to focus more on character development and emotional moments rather than battles and action sequences. But this is one of the show's greatest strengths, as it allows viewers to get to know the characters on a deeper level. Sure, this episode doesn't do that as well as, for example, Zuko Alone or the Tales of Ba Sing Se does, but still. We get Sokka being way too overprotective of Yue, highlighting the impact that Yue's death has had on him, which is great. It makes the series feel real. The things that happen have consequences and impact our characters, not just in that moment when it happens. This is beautifully symbolized in the scene where Suki and Sokka almost kiss, but we find the moon between their faces as they stop.
I can't.
On the other hand, the episode also explores Aang after losing Appa, the last tie to his culture. Struggling with losing hope and giving in to his darker side. The episode also explores themes of keeping hope and vulnerability through Aang. Aang finding hope in the end after seeing the newborn baby, and the baby being named Hope are a bit much, but the episode gives depth to our characters as it explores complex psychological themes. And really, I just think the episode is great and it's often overlooked. Number 9. The Siege of the North. And I'm talking here about part 1 and 2 together because they are really one episode to me. So, alright, I know people like this episode, right? Which is why it is at number 9. However, while it is generally well liked, people usually don't put this finale on the same level and give it the same attention and credit as the other finales. But personally, I think that this penultimate two-parter of the season is easily of the same quality as the others. But why? Well, firstly, the setup to this finale is just perfect. The Fire Nation's got a massive fleet. They're gonna attack the Northern Water Tribe, who are severely outnumbered, and hoping to get some sort of help, Aang seeks out the spirits. From there on, this episode just hits moment after moment. Firstly, Aang meets Ko, arguably the most impressive spirit of the entire franchise, who tells him about the koi fish, moon and ocean spirits and the spirit oasis. Subsequently, Zhao enters the spirit oasis, captures Tui and the moon turns red, eventually ending Tui when the moon fades and all waterbending stagnates. And after all appears lost, we get the resolution to the finale, the climax of the episode that comes right after it. When Aang says,
No, it's not over.
And the cinematography, wow, it's incredible. The black and white merge with the beautiful shades of blue from Koi Fish Aang as justice is served. The Fire Nation is fought off and Zhao is taken by the ocean spirit. Of course, this is a Deus Ex Machina, which we find in other finales too, looking at you, Season 3. But it feels earned as Aang sought after the spirits in the spirit world, and it makes sense that Law aspires to avenge his counterpart Tui, which makes this scene so incredibly satisfying. And during all of this, Yue, the tribe's princess, fulfills her destiny. In an emotional sacrifice, she becomes the moon spirit and parts with Sokka. Another amazing scene. This episode is just filled to the brim with incredible scenes that just make you feel every emotion available, all the while using excellent cinematography. And really, I just don't see it talked about enough, especially when compared to the other finales. Number 8. The Spirit World Part 2, Avatar Roku. This episode really sprung the series into greatness for me. When talking about Book 1 episodes, I don't think people give this one enough credit. Up until now, the show really didn't have much structure. Aang could just ignore his responsibilities and ride koi fish and just around. But in this episode, Aang learns that You need to learn the 4 elements and defeat the Fire Lord before the comet comes. You need to start grinding. The show desperately needed this, and Aang learning about it through Roku's exposition is very well written. Check out my video on Aang's character development that covers this and the rest of Aang's journey in more detail. Also, after their dialogue, this happens.
Fire!
Avatar Roku.
I get chills every time that scene comes up. Many argue that The Storm is the first episode where Avatar starts to get form and take itself more seriously. But really, I think it's this one. Number 7. Lake Laogai. Lake Laogai to me is a finale in and of itself. It does all things right, but the Crossroads of Destiny really steals the spotlight from this episode. Lake Laogai has an incredible storyline and very, very powerful moments. The fight scene with the Dai Li is very exciting. It is one of the most well choreographed and intense fight scenes in the show. I love seeing the Dai Li agents in combat, and the fight scene showcases the impressive bending skills of Aang, Katara and Toph as they fight off these earthbending assassins. I also just love the presence of the freedom fighters in the episode. The death of Jet, a recurring character in the series which in itself I would argue is a very underrated character, is also a significant moment in the episode. Jet had been a controversial character as his methods of fighting the Fire Nation were often violent and ruthless, but his death is just so poignant and it underlines the brutal nature of the war and the characters that are fighting in it. And of course I can't forget about Appa finally being reunited with Aang. After being separated for 8 episodes, their reunion is just a tear-jerking and heartwarming moment. This episode is just as good, if not better than the Crossroads of Destiny in my opinion, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves. Number 6. Bitter Work. Bitter Work is another episode paralleling Aang and Zuko. Aang starting his earthbending training and Zuko being taught lightning generation and redirection by Iroh. Aang's earthbending training is also fun to watch. I like how his avoiding nature is challenged by the head-on mindset required for earthbending. Sokka getting stuck in a hole is also just hilarious. But Zuko's training is clearly the stronger half of the parallel. Zuko's story features the best Iroh speech there is. In his talk with Iroh, Iroh gives some poignant information about the 4 nations and then just drops this wisdom bomb.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
This is simply one of the best scenes of Avatar, and I've really been thinking about getting this figure tattooed on my body. It is such a remarkable scene. Throughout Zuko's training, he hits rock bottom. He mentions that he is as proud as ever, to which Iroh just drops some more wisdom.
But I don't feel any shame at all. I'm as proud as ever.
Prince Zuko, pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
The last scene is also just, oof, you just feel for Zuko so much, screaming at the universe to hit him with lightning, screaming about how rough his life has been, and ultimately crying. The character work in this episode is top tier, and it should be celebrated more in my opinion. Number 5. The Desert. To an extent, the desert is undermined by the amazing episode The Library that precedes it, but damn is it rough. The highlight of this episode is how they portrayed Aang's grief over losing Appa. We see Aang turning to his dark side, and even though that's not who he is, it feels so real and in character because we have already established the significance of his bond with Appa. Katara also gets a great character moment, keeping the gang together as Aang and Toph lose hope and Sokka and Momo are off into another dimension. People always say Katara is motherly, which she can be, but it's never to the detriment of the gang. It guides them, and here that is really evident. The climax to the episode, the confrontation with the Sandbenders at the end, is also really emotionally charged. We get Aang entering the Avatar state, and it feels really, really justified and real here. And the moment is just incredible.
You said to put a muzzle on him. You muzzled Appa?
And yet again, Katara shines by consoling Aang and calming him down. Subsequently, Aang cries, and the episode just ends. I understand why this episode is perhaps not really talked about as much as some others, as there's not really a clear objective or storyline. We just follow the gang as they wander through the desert. But the characters, especially Aang and Katara, are perfect here, and it gives us some really emotional scenes that deserve more credit. Number 4. The Western Air Temple. The Western Air Temple follows the climactic mid-season finale of The Day of Black Sun. The episode finds itself between the incredible two-parter and the amazing Zuko field trips. But really, this episode serves the series very well. The gang is allowed to cool off after the climactic battle, refocus and strategize on what to do next. And of course it was a very wise decision to dedicate an entire episode to Zuko joining Team Avatar. Would they not have done that, it would most likely have felt very cheap. And the negotiations were very interesting. Each gang member has a different perspective. Toph is in favor as she has not had any negative experiences with Zuko, only knowing him through her meeting with Iroh, where Iroh explains Zuko's struggle between right and wrong. Sokka is not a fan of the idea, but believes they should follow Aang's decision. And of course Katara, who's betrayed by Zuko on a personal level, was heavily against the idea. It all feels so real and works so well. I also like that Aang understands that Zuko is destined to be his teacher after he mentions how he should be more careful with fire, tying into Aang's relationship with firebending in the episode with Zhong, the deserter. Again, not a lot happens in this episode, but I still think it is really good, though I understand that more attention goes to the amazing episodes that come before and after it. Number 3. The Awakening. We open Book 3 with the episode The Awakening, with Aang waking up in a captured Fire Nation ship. The Fire Nation captured Ba Sing Se, the last great stronghold, and Aang is not only physically injured, but also traumatized by the experience. He can't come to terms with the fact that he failed, and even more so he can't accept that the world thinks he failed. It is such heavy material that the episode tackles perfectly, and it also sets up Aang's inevitable confrontation with Ozai. And we get some crazy moments during this episode. Firstly, the gang is shown to be bending beasts. Like Katara and Toph show some very cool bending feats.
They know!
And then after guilt-ridden Aang flies away and is caught in a storm, we see him losing hope, only to get pep-talked by Roku and then even by Yue, which are both really cool moments. The show eventually gives us a heartwarming moment with the gang consoling Aang and Aang burning his glider, beautifully symbolizing that he has to sacrifice his identity in order to fulfill his destiny as the Avatar. And all while this is happening, we also get Zuko arriving home for the first time in the series. And we get a glimpse of him understanding that probably this wasn't the right decision, probably this isn't who he is. What can I say? As an episode it is just really, really good, but as the opener to the final season of the series, it is fantastic, and it deserves more love. Number 2. The Earth King. The Earth King is a very interesting episode. It follows the other underrated episode Lake Laogai we talked about, and this episode is the same level, but it's talked about even less. We begin the episode with the gang's absolutely epic assault on the Earth King's palace. It is one of the best action scenes there is in the entire series. Amazing earthbending by Aang and Toph, Katara gets her moment, and Sokka gets nothing really. Following this amazing beginning to the episode, we have very intriguing plot development too, with the gang trying to get rid of Long Feng and getting the Earth King's trust. This politics is all very interesting and does a great job at setting up the satisfying payoff in the finale that comes shortly after it. Aside from the gang's thrilling adventure, we get some amazing Zuko dreams filled to the brim with effective symbolism about Zuko's struggle between right and wrong. And lastly, the episode ends on a scary freaking cliffhanger with Azula, Mei and Ty Lee being welcomed as the supposed Kyoshi warriors.
We are the Earth King's humble servants.
And just that look in Azula's face, you just know about to go down. This episode is like perfect. I don't know why it's not part of many top 10 Avatar lists. I really think it's incredible. Number 1. The Guru. The Guru from start to end is a perfect episode. All its plotlines and moments work and cut to your heart. We get Sokka reuniting with his father.
Sokka.
Hi, Dad.
His part is totally heartwarming as he finally sees and feels how proud his father is of him. And while Sokka's part is amazing, of course the bulk of this episode follows Aang on his spiritual journey to open all 7 chakras and master the Avatar state under the guidance of Guru Patik. Aang confronting his guilt and fears works really well and is essential to his character arc. The chakras are explained so well, and Aang's journey, albeit a bit fast, is so incredibly interesting. And throughout it we get such amazing life lessons. Then we get to the chakra that deals with illusion, where Guru Patik talks about the illusion of the 4 nations, the illusion of the 4 elements. And we move to Toph learning to freaking metal bend in the most epic scene of all time.
Come on, metal budge. Woo! Toph, You rule.
That is just top 5 Avatar moments for me. And at the same time, all of these individual character moments occur. Katara is involved with the overarching plot of planning the invasion with the Earth Kingdom generals. I think that this episode has no flaws. It is incredible and it really deserves more praise from us as Avatar fans. So that was it. Did you agree with the list? What do you think is the most underrated episode of Avatar? Let me know in the comments. Also make sure to join our group of friends by subscribing and liking the video if you enjoyed. Until the next video, have a good one. See ya.
Perfection and power are overrated. I think you are very wise to choose happiness.